Okay, I'm trying this out. I wanted to make more videos. I thought that would be a cool idea. Maybe you guys would want to see them. So I'm either going to put it on my website or if I feel super inspired to start a YouTube channel. I don't know. It'll be totally for fun. I'm not going to be a YouTuber. so, um, but I wanted to share with you all the stuff that I brought for being creative and doing some pictures and paintings on our spring break vacation. So I am making a video for you guys. I'll show you all the supplies that I brought and I used, and some of them I didn't end up using, but I'm glad I had them as a backup if I decided to. I don't know if in future I would remember that and not bring them, or if I'd still bring them in case things change and I wanted to use them. But I'll also walk you through my sketchbook that I brought. It's not finished, but you can see the pages and how I'm kind of trying to learn some new things and try some new things and stretch my art in a different way than I've been doing for the past, I don't know, 3 years, I guess. So I'm kind of in this like different transition time, and it's really fun. It's a little nerve-wracking, but um, the vacation was a good time to figure it all out and decide, how to use different things and um, experiment and make mistakes. And some of it looks really cool, and I like it. So that's good. There's, you got to have the bad and the good. But yeah, so this is a video. Hopefully, I can figure out how to edit it and put it all together, and you like it. And yeah, so thanks for watching. These are the gouache paints. I did bring them along, and I also brought along a few brushes. I thought maybe I was going to try that while we were in Florida. And I figured out I could put one in here. Maybe it wasn't this one. And then I just lift this little plastic thing right out, and I plopped the other ones right in the bottom. And I wasn't sure how this was going to go for traveling. So I did put it in a couple Ziploc bags because I just wasn't sure if like these paints were going to crack. I didn't bring this in my carry-on, but I did pack it in our luggage. I did not, in fact, end up using these at all. But at least I knew I had them if I decided I wanted to use them. They did end up closing better than what I just showed you. So I did bring those along just in case, but I did not use them. And future trips, I don't think maybe I'd bring them, but maybe I would. I mean, they're a little bit big, but not too bad. All right. I also brought all these, I guess they're called Stabilo. They're these woody kind of crayon pencils. They're very thick and they draw, I'll show you. If you really push down, they can be really like thick kind of marks, but you can also kind of do, thinner ones. But I really like to just like hold it and scribble down really thick. I did not use these very much. I actually only used them in the airport on the way there for drawing a few faces, but I'll show you what I did use the majority of the time. But I'm glad I had these for the airport, and I always had them in the back of my mind. I thought, oh, when we get back to the condo, I was going to draw something else and use these, but I did not, in fact, do that. So, but I'm glad I had them. I also brought these, I forget what they're called. Oh, Neocolored tubes. So these are water soluble. Also, these can also be, they're water soluble, so you can also put them, make marks and put water on them, and it kind of blends them out a little bit. You still see some of the marks. Maybe I'll show you that. I'm getting all over the place. Okay, so we're going to backtrack. So these are the Stabilo, the woody pencils, and see when I added water to it, they kind of blend out. So that's kind of cool. But I didn't do that at all, but I used them more as like crayons. And then I brought the Neo Color 2s, and these are also water soluble, and they're kind of more, they're thick and a little bit waxy, not an oil pastel at all, but similar to that. So you can get a good thick mark, which I really like. But they also, if you add water, can blend out and blob out. If you can see that. So, and you can kind of see the marks depending upon how you do it. Anyway, I did not get those wet, but I did use these in the airport, again, drawing a few faces. So they were fun to have. And again, I was glad that I knew that I had them. So I had some options if I wanted to. This is what I used all the time. So I brought it to the beach. I used it in the condo. And I actually wasn't sure like I was going to like this, but I really did. So I'm glad that I brought them, and I kind of learned a lot about how to use them. I'm going to pull out a few things, and I'll show you those in a minute. So these are all just a bunch of colored pencils. And they are the Prism brand. I'll show you. You can see that. Prismacolor Premier. I have a whole array of colors, as you can see. So I didn't like hold anything back, and I just brought all of them that I had, along with a pencil sharpener, which needs to be emptied. I did use that a lot. That was a lifesaver. So these I used a ton, and I kind of layered them on each other. I used a lot of the white, could, you know, kind of mute the colors, which I'll show you. So these were the most used, and I loved them a lot, and I'm going to use them a lot, and it was a good experience. It was a good experiment. So they're just, you know, regular colored pencils, but I do notice that they're very vibrant. They go down really smooth. So if you were in the market for a colored pencil, I highly recommend the Prismacolor. I also brought a Micron pen 05, and I used that maybe a little bit, but not too much. I brought two pencils. Let's see, this is a 5B, I guess. I'll show you like what it, if you can see that, how that draws. And then I brought a 9B, and so this is a little thicker, a little darker, and I use those a little bit too, because I didn't have a black colored pencil, so I kind of use those a little bit. And then this is a Pentel Indian ink pen, and it comes with these little refills. I use this pen a lot. It's fun for drawing and making marks. You can go thick and thin. I use this a little bit. I'll show you that as well. And these are the refills, but I didn't need those because I didn't use it a ton. Like I said, I used the colored pencils a lot. So I did bring two sketchbooks, but I only used one. Before we left, I thought, okay, I'm going to make this fun. And so I used some collage papers on the front and the back. And I've been obsessed with like barns and farm scenes lately. So this is like a drawing that I did, and I photocopied it and then tore it up. And so you can kind of see some of the like trees and the water and stuff, but then I made the barn out of it. Anyway, so I'll show you this. It's not done, but I'll show you when it's done too, because I took a lot of pictures on spring break as well. So I'm hoping to go back and see about drawing from those. But this was my first experience with, I'll say, like plein air drawing, painting, you know, on location. And it can be a little nerve-wracking, but it was a good first experience. And I have heard from other artists that it's kind of addicting, and it actually is very addicting. And so I can't wait to do it more around our house and our neighborhood and where we live. And I see different spots. I'm like, ooh, I want to draw that. And I'm not a super realistic drawer. So I like to make things a little bit more abstract, different colors. They're not, you know, the people are not realistic people. They're just very fun, more whimsical. And so that's kind of the style I'm getting into. Anyway, this is the first page that I just collaged on, and I've been trying to put the dates in my sketchbooks recently. And this I actually was just testing out. I think it was this pencil when I got it. So that's that page. Maybe we'll come back to and add something to it. And then before we left, I did go through and make some marks with some of my gouache paint on some of the pages, just so I had some color and things down, so it wasn't a whole bunch of blank pages, which was very helpful because then you didn't feel like, oh, it's so precious, and it's just easier to get into. Plus you have some more color and texture and marks already on there, and so that's really nice. So I did not do this in order. I just skipped around on the pages, but this was, I think, our first morning there, and it's the view from our balcony, which I did in, I'll show you this, colored pencil, and there were marks on there already. So I feel like from this one, the first using the colored pencils, to some of the end ones, I can really see a progression. But the cool thing is you like remember certain things when you do this instead of like having pictures. This tree was down the street from where we could see from our balcony. And at the beginning, it was this big, bright tree or bush of yellow. And by midway through, it had already like fully bloomed and started to fall off. So I'm super glad that I got this, and can then draw from that. So, and like I said, these are all, I mean, they probably look kind of silly, but I really like them. And another artist has said to then go through and use these and make paintings and pictures from these. So this is the beach. There were a ton of these like little cabana things and umbrellas. And so that was a beach day. This is also another beach day. There was this guy laying out, and they're by their under their umbrella, and they had this little red and white striped bag, which I was kind of cute. People, and then there was a sailboat out. This actually looks like a shark or dolphin, but it was actually like a sea-doo. So this is from the beach too. There was some condos, but I totally changed how they looked and just added in some things. And these are kind of like notes too, so to remind myself like what I saw, so I can then go forth and paint other things from this. I love this one. This is a few days in, so I'm getting a little more comfortable with my pencils and how to use them. This was a tree that was by our pool, and it had these like wrappy little vine things all around it. So I tried to kind of capture that a little bit, and the leaves were like really small and kind of circular. But this is one of my favorites. I do love it. This was towards the end of the trip. This is another favorite of mine. I had already had color down on the page, but this was part of a palm tree that was like growing out, and I loved this pattern and texture. And so that's what I tried to capture. And this is a light post. They had these cool light posts there. So this is one of my favorite ones. I really like that. This is, I think, one of our second to last day maybe, but a woman on the beach had this really cool dress, and so this is kind of my rendering of the dress, and the colors and like a little bit of what she had on there. This was actually a pattern of like on our chairs on our balcony of how they were coming together on there, and so I just took them and drew that, but they kind of look like surfboards, and then I added color and stuff. So I kind of like that. I'll do something with that later, I think. This is our last day, and I was fascinated by sitting by the pool with all the different leaves, so I tried to kind of capture those. And you can see I've gotten a lot more comfortable with like shading and what to do. This is a view of the beach. There were all the condos, and then if you look down, you know, it wrapped around, you could see Tiger Tail Beach here, and then all the umbrellas and the people. So I kind of try to do that a very loose way, which is what I'm trying to figure out, is how to be loose. So I liked how this one turned out. I'll show you. Let me skip forward. Hold on. If I can find it. Oh yeah. This was my first one that I did of that. Obviously it's way different. I didn't like that, so I tried it again, you know? So there we go. Okay, this is a palm tree, well, a palm leaf that was hanging down. I thought, why don't we make it color? So I tried that. I'm going to go back and do it again another time, but I just wanted to make it colorful and different. This page I haven't finished, I haven't done anything with. Same with this page. This is the pool. There was a cool, really short palm tree right by the pool. This is the pool and some people in it, if you can kind of see it. But these are like, you know, memories. Like I'll remember who these people are that were in the pool. These are some faces. Again, these are like more whimsical faces. This was a girl actually on the beach that I was fascinated with that was looking for shells, and she had the coolest braids. Um, and I think that one I just kind of randomly drew. But these were faces that I used in the airport, that I used the Stabilo woody pencils and the Neocolor 2s with. And again, very whimsical. But there was this girl that had these great braids, and just some other people that I saw walking around that I, you know, did like renderings of. I used them as inspiration to then draw my own. This is like when I was sitting there, the people waiting by the stand to talk to the flight attendants. So I did that. Okay, there's that painting picture I didn't really like. This is a beach day. We had rented these umbrellas, and so we were by all these umbrellas. So I was trying to kind of capture that, along with some people out in the water and some people sitting there in their bright swimsuits. So I tried to capture that as loosely as I could. That was my goal with all of this. This one I really love. I was trying to be really loose. It's a view from our balcony, and there were buildings down to the side. And I was looking at the buildings, but not the paper as I was drawing this with a pencil. So it's very loose, which I actually love. And then I went back and added in color and some different marks and a few details. And then I did the palm trees. There were a ton of palm trees in front of it, and those cool lights. They were actually like that color. So I added those in. And this was a girl, the woman that I drew her dress. She had really curly hair, so I tried to get her down to remember her hair. This did not turn out very good because I'm not good at side faces, but I tried. So there's that. And I think that's it. So yeah, I'm going to do more of these, but I'm going to use my pictures that I took, and I'm going to go back in and add more, fill up the pages with the pictures that I took, and I'll show you that when I had that done. But I wanted to show you all this stuff that I brought to encourage you, if you go on vacation, to bring along some stuff to be creative, because it is a lot of fun. All right, that's the video. So hope you like it. Thanks for watching. I'll probably make another one. We'll see. We'll see where this ends up, if it's on YouTube or on my website. But follow along with me. I'll share the journey as I'm trying some of this new stuff, and hope you like it, and maybe it'll, you know, inspire you to get creative. But that's why I wanted to share all this, so that, you know, you don't have to bring a ton of stuff to be creative wherever you go. So I hope that inspires you and gives you some ideas, and I'll see you next time.